Hello everybody and welcome back to my continuation of my book reading of Stephen King's Later. Here we go. While we're eating our ice cream at Lickety Split, Liz phoned my mother to tell her where we were and what we were up to. Liz said, "It must be so strange what you can do. So weird. Doesn't it freak you out?" I thought of asking her if it freaked her out to look up at night and see the stars. I know they go on forever and ever. But I didn't bother. I just said no. You get used to marvelous things. You take them for granted. You can try not to, but you do. There's too much wonder, that's all. It's everywhere. I'll tell you about the other time Liz picked me up from school very soon, but first I have to tell you about the day they broke up. It was a scary morning, believe me. I woke up that day even before my alarm clock went off, because Mom was yelling. I heard her mad before, but never that mad. "You brought it into the apartment where I live with my son?" Liz answered something, but it was a little more than a mumble, and I couldn't hear. "Do you think that matters to me?" Mom shouted. On the cop shows, that's what they call serious weight. I could go to jail as an accessory. Sorry. "Don't be dramatic," Liz said. Louder now. "There was never any chance of." "That doesn't matter," Mom yelled. "It was there. It still is there. On the fucking table beside the fucking sugar bowl. You brought drugs into my house? Serious weight. Will you stop saying that? This isn't an episode of Law and Order." Now Liz was also getting loud, getting mad. I stood with one ear pressed against my bedroom door, barefoot and dressed in my pajamas. My heart started to pound. This wasn't a discussion or even an argument. This was worse. "If you hadn't been going through my pockets, searching your stuff, is that what you think? I was trying to do you a favor. I was going to take your extra uniform coat to the cleaners along with my wool skirt. How long has it been there?" "Only a little while. The guy it belongs to is out of town. He's going to be back tomorrow." "How long?" Liz's reply was again too low for me to hear. "Then why bring it here? I don't understand that. Why not put it into a gun safe at your place?" I don't... She stopped. "Don't what? Don't actually have a gun safe? And there have been breakings into my building. Besides, I was going to be here. We're going to spend the week together. I thought it would be save me a trip. Save you a trip." To this, Liz made no reply. "No gun safe in your apartment. How many other things have you been lying to me about?" Mom didn't sound mad anymore, at least not right then. She sounded hurt, like she wanted to cry. I felt like going out and telling Liz to leave my mother alone, even if my mother had started by finding whatever she found a serious weight. But I just stood there, listening, trembling too. Liz mumbled some more. "Is this why you're in trouble at the department? Are you using as well as, I don't know, carrying the stuff, distributing the stuff?" I'm not distributing." "Well, you're passing it on." Mom's voice was rising again. "That sounds like distributing to me." Then she went back to what was really troubling her. Well, not the only thing, but the one that was troubling her the most. "You brought it into my apartment where my son is. You locked your gun in your car. I always insisted on that, but now I find 2 pounds of cocaine in your spare jacket." She actually laughed, but not the way people do when something is funny. "Your spare police jacket. It's not 2 pounds. sounding sulky. I grew up weighing meat in my father's market, Mom said. I knew 2 pounds when I got it in my hand. I'll get it out, she said, right now. You do that, Liz. Post haste. And you can come back to get your things. By appointment. When I'm here and Jamie's not, otherwise never. You don't mean that, Liz said. But even through the door, I could tell she didn't believe what she was saying. I absolutely do. I'm going to do you a favor and not report what I found to your watch captain. But if you ever show your face here again, except for that one time to pick up your shit, I will. That's a promise. You're throwing me out? Really? Really? Take your dope and fuck off. Liz started to cry. That was horrible. Then, after she was gone, Mom started to cry, and that was even worse. I went out into the kitchen and hugged her. How much of that did you hear? Mom asked. And before I could answer, all of it, I imagine. I'm not going to lie to you, Jamie, or gloss it over. She had dope, a lot of dope, and I never want you to say a word about it, okay? Was it really cocaine? I had also been crying, but didn't realize it until I heard my voice come out all husky. It was. And since you already know so much, I might as well tell you. I tried in college just a couple of times. I tasted what it was in the baggie I found, and my tongue went numb. It was coke, alright. But it's gone. She took it. Moms know what kids are scared of, if they're good moms. A critic might call that a romantic notion, but I think it's just a practical fact. She did, and we're fine. It was a nasty way to start the day, but it's over. We'll draw a line under it and move on. Okay, but is Liz really not your friend anymore? Mom used the dish towel to wipe her face. I don't think she's been my friend for quite a while now. I just didn't know it. Now get ready for school. That night, while I was doing my homework, I heard a glug 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 coming from the kitchen and smelled wine. The smell was a lot stronger than usual, even on nights when Mom and Liz put away a lot of vino. I came out of my room to see if she spilled a bottle, although there had been no crash of glass, and saw Mom standing over the sink with a jug of red wine in one hand and a jug of white in the other. She was pouring it down the drain. Why are you throwing it away? Did it go bad? In a manner of speaking, she said, I think it started to go bad about 8 months ago. It's time to stop. I found out later that my mother went to AA for a while after she broke up with Liz, then decided she didn't need it. Old man pissing and moaning about a drink they took 30 years ago, she said. And I don't think she quit completely, because one or twice I thought I smelled wine on her breath when she kissed me goodnight. Maybe from dinner with a client. If she kept the bottle in the apartment, I never knew where she stashed it. Not that I looked very hard. What I do know is that in the years that followed, I never saw her drunk. I never saw her hungover. That was good enough for me. I didn't see Liz Dutton for a long time after that. A year, or maybe a little more. I missed her at first, but that didn't last long. When the feeling came, I just reminded myself she screwed my mom over, and big time. I kept waiting for Mom to have another sleepover friend, but she didn't. Like ever. I asked her once, and she said, once burnt, twice shy. We're okay, that's the important thing. And we were, thanks to Regis Thomas. 27 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. And a couple new clients. One of them discovered by Barbara Means, who was by then full-time and actually ended up getting her name on the door in 2017. The agency was back on a firm footing, Uncle Harry. On a firm footing. Okay, sorry about that. Uncle Harry returned to the care home, Bajon. Same facility, new management. Which wasn't great, but better than it had been. Mom was no longer cross in the morning, and she got new clothes. Have to, she told me once that year. I've lost 15 pounds of one weight. I was in middle school by then, which sucked in some respect. Was okay in others, and came with one excellent perk. Student athletes with no class during the last period of the day could go into the gym, the art room, the music room, or sign out. I only played basketball, and the season was over, but I still qualified. Some days I checked out the art room because this foxy chick named Mary O'Malley occasionally hung out there. If she wasn't working on one of her watercolors, I just went home. Walked if it was nice, on my own. It should go without saying, I took the bus if it was nasty. On the day list, Dutton came back into my life. I didn't even bother looking for Mary because I gotten a new Xbox for my birthday, and I wanted to hit it. I was all the way down the walk and shouldering my backpack when she called for me. Hey champ. What the haps, Bambino? She was leaning against her personal, legs crossed at the ankles, wearing jeans and a low-cut blouse. It was a blazer over the blouse instead of a parka, but it still had NYPD on the breast, and she flapped it open in the old way to show me her shoulder holster. Only this time, it wasn't empty. Hi Liz, I mumbled. I looked down at my shoes and made a right turn onto the street. Hold on, I need to talk to you. I stopped, but I didn't turn back to her, like she was Medusa, and one look at her snaky head could turn me to stone. I don't think I should. Mom would be mad. She doesn't need to know. Turn around, Jamie, please. Looking at nothing but your back is just about killing me. She sounded like she really felt bad, and that made me feel bad. I turned around. The blazer was closed again, but I could see the bulge of her gun just the same. I want you to take a ride with me. Not a good idea, I said. I was thinking of this girl named Ramona Scheinberg. She was in a couple of my classes at the beginning of the year, but then she was gone, and my friend Scott told me her father snatched her during a custody suit and took her to some place where there was no extradition. Scott said he hoped it was at least a place with palm trees. I need what you can do, champ, she said. I really do. I didn't reply to that, but she must have seen I was wavering because she gave me a smile. It was a nice one that lit up those grey eyes of hers. They weren't a bit sleety that day. Maybe it will come to nothing, but I want to try. I want you to try. Try what? He didn't answer. Not then. Just held out a hand to me. I helped your mother when Regis Thomas died. Won't you help me now? Technically, I was the one who helped my mother that day. Liz just gave us a quick ride up to Springbrook Parkway, but she had stopped to buy a Whopper when Mom just wanted to push on. And she gave me the rest of her Coke when my mouth was still dry from talking. So I got into the car. I didn't feel good about it, but I did it. Adults have power, especially when they beg, and that's what Liz was doing. I asked Liz where we're going, and she said Central Park to start with. Maybe a couple other places after that. I said if I didn't get home by 5, Mom would be worried. Liz told me she'd try to get me back before then. But this was very important. That's when she told me what it was about. The guy who called himself Thumper set his first bomb in Eastport, a Long Island town not all that far from Spionk, one-time home of Uncle Harry's cabin. This was in 1996. Thumper dropped a stick of dynamite hooked up to a timer in a trash can outside the restrooms of the King Cullen supermarket. The timer was nothing but a cheap alarm clock. But it worked. The dynamite went off at 9 p.m. Just as the supermarket was closing. 3 people were hurt, all store employees. 2 of them suffered only superficial injuries. But the 3rd guy was coming out of the men's when the bomb blew. He lost an eye and his right arm up to the elbow. 2 days later, a note came in to the Suffolk County Police Department. It was typed on IBM Selectric. It said, "How do you like my work so far? More to come, Thumper." Thumper set 19 bombs before he actually killed anybody. 19, Liz exclaimed. And it wasn't as if he wasn't trying. He set them all over the 5 boroughs. And a couple in New Jersey, Jersey City, Fort Lee, for good measure. All dynamite, Canadian manufactured. But the score of the maimed and wounded was high. It had been closing in on 50 when he finally killed a man who picked the wrong Lexington Avenue payphone. Every kaboom was followed by a note to the police responsible for the area where said kaboom occurred. And the note were always the same. "How you like my work so far? More to come, Thumper." Before Richard Scalise, that was the payphone man's name, a long period of time went by before each new explosions. The 2 closest were 6 weeks apart. The longest delay was close to a year, but after Scalise, Thumper sped up. The bombs became bigger and the timers more sophisticated. 19 explosions between 1996 and 2009. 20 counting the payphone bomb between 2010 and the pity Mayday in 2013 when Liz came back into my life. He set 10 more, wounding 20 and killing 3. By then, Thumper wasn't just an urban legend or an New York One staple. By then, he was nationwide. He was good at avoiding security cameras, and those he couldn't avoid just shoved a guy into a coat, sunglasses, and a Yankees cap, pulled down low. He kept his head low, too. Some white hair showed around the sides and back of the cap. But that could have been a wig. Over the 17 years of his reign of terror, 3 different task forces were organized to catch him. The first one disbanded during a long break in his reign, when the police assumed he was finished. The second disbanded after a big shakeup in the department. The third started in 2011, when he became clear Thumper had gone into overdrive. Liz didn't tell me all of this. On our way to Central Park, I found it out later, as I did so many other things. Finally, 2 days ago, they got the break in the case they've been waiting and hoping for. Son of Sam was caught by a parking ticket. Ted Bundy got caught because he forgot to put his headlights on. Thumper, real name Kenneth Allen, was nailed because a building super had a minor accident on trash day. He was wheeling a dolly loaded with garbage cans down an alley to the pickup point up front. He hit a pothole and one of the cans spilled. When he went to clean up the mess, he found a bundle of wires and yellow scrap of paper with Canico printed on it. He might not have called the police if that had been all, but it wasn't. Attached to one of the wires was a Dino Noble blasting cap. We got to Central Park and parked with a bunch of regular cops. Another thing I found out later is that Central Park has its own precinct, the 22nd. Liz put her little cop sign on the dashboard and we walked down 86th Street for a little while before turning onto a path that led to the Alexander Hamilton Monument. That's one thing I didn't find out later. I just read the fucking sign, or plague, whatever. And here I'm gonna stop it for this part of my book reading of Stephen King's Leader. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.